Alright guys, I usually don't do videos like this on my channel, but I told you guys I was going to start doing more videos akin to what I want to talk about. And today I'm going to start with a little review slash like talking about the first episode of Quantum Leap 2022. I said Quantum Leap 2022 because if you don't know, Quantum Leap started originally in 1989 and went all the way to um, Um. Okay, it went all the way from 1989 to 1993. So the original run lasted like 4 or 5 seasons. So I actually wrote notes about the episode because I'm taking this. Like I said, I'm taking this more seriously, guys. Like I'm gonna do my research and stuff like that. And make these episodes and videos a little more informative than I would usually take videos because I'm monetized now. I gotta take it more seriously how I do stuff. So if you guys like the kind of video, please leave a like, comment down below, subscribe, click the notification bell for all notifications. That's really important, guys. Please do that because my views have been tagging a lot lately. So please do that. Please share the video too. Share the channel. It really helps out a lot. And we're gonna get into the video. I'm not gonna show any clips or anything like that because I don't want to get struck by NBC, Universal, or anything like that, or any like stills. I don't want to really go too heavy into like editing this video because I always wanted to go out a day after the first episode airs. So I'm gonna at least go off my notes if I need to. So it starts out the opening kind of like the original opening does with Deborah Pratt talking about what Dr. Sandbaker, blah, blah, blah. It basically like summarized the entire original series, basically saying he never came home and now it's been restarted. It's been restarted by Dr. Ben Song and a group of people, Magic being one of them. Magic was, I don't want to say what, see, he wasn't really tied to the original project, but he was kind of connected to Sam in a way because he leapt into Sam leapt into him. I believe it was in the original run. He leapt into Magic to help Sam's brother survive the war. So that's how he is tied to the project. Um, and then we meet Addison, his fiance, Ben's fiance, at a party, and they're just having a like work party, um, engagement party for Ben and Addison, and he does some speech about like how like in physics particles that are always together always be together, or some stuff basically like tying them together forever, basically for the series because they're basically foreshadowing that he's gonna be leaping and she's gonna be the observer or whatever. So basically that, and then we get to meet Ian, one of the other project heads, and he's kind of like spearheading the whole, um, like booting up Ziggy, figuring out Ziggy and why Ziggy's not booted. Finally gets Ziggy booted up. Then Ziggy starts to relay information about what they're there for, what Ben's there for, why he's there, all that stuff. Um, then there's some security lady. I missed her name. I didn't get her name. I missed her name. She's not really important. She just does like security work and she monitors like security cameras and stuff. I'll get to that in a second. But there's a part where Ian gets like stressed and like starts to leave, and Magic's like, you can't leave because we need you. You're the only one that knows like Ben's project. And he's like, I don't know his code. I don't know what all he did. Blah 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 blah. And I don't know how to do this. And he's like, that doesn't matter. We need you. They need you. Talking about Ben and Addison need him to like bring him back home. Um, so the reason he's there in the year 1985, July 13th specifically, is to stop a heist of the Hope Diamond by a group of people. He, the guy he's there to save. Let me find his name. Ryan. I had to find his name because I wrote down a bunch of character names. The guy Ryan, he's there to save him from dying originally, which he does do. But he kind of screws it up when the like bad mob guy, gangster guy, finds out that the guy Ben leapt into is really an undercover cop because his undercover name is Nick Rounder, but the cop's real name is like Matt something. They said it. I didn't write it down because I was like, doesn't really matter. They keep calling him Nick, so whatever. It was Matt something, but basically he's an undercover cop. Basically there to like stop the heist of the diamond. Well, since they find out, they zip tie his hands together, put him in like a some kind of back room or something. He breaks out of the zip ties, basically goes to the party, still tries to like stop it, because he knocks out the one guy that was originally supposed to stop security guards from coming in. And so he comes in. So he finds that guy, punches him, knocks him out to make a joke about like how it hurt to like actually like punch someone's lights out, which like no doubt it would hurt because you're literally like clocking somebody in the freaking face. But he does that, and then he's like, well, what about the bomb? And they're like, oh, wait, the bomb. Then he talks to the one lady, Charlie, I believe her name was, and she's like, well, why don't we just start now? She pulls a gun out, shoots up in the air, freaks everybody out. Everybody starts running out. And turns out the bomb is actually outside of the building in the trunk of a car. So when it explodes, it was going to be like a distraction. No one was originally supposed to die. But then he changed history by making that happen. So a lot of people were going to die. So Ben takes the bomb, throws it down the sewer, and then the bomb explodes, and then everybody's saved, and the guy Ryan gets saved. His wife, his what the reason he was doing it was because of his wife needed some kind of like she was going through like dialysis. They didn't say what kind of dialysis. I'm assuming like liver or kidney dialysis or something. But basically, he needed the money for that. And originally, Hope Diamond, they successfully stole it originally, and the Hope Diamond that was in the Smithsonian was fake. So the government paid like $500 million to like cover up the fake Hope Diamond. Now that Ben fixed that's no longer a thing. But there you go. Like that's why Ryan did what he was doing. And Ben was originally there to stop Ryan from dying from getting shot by one of the gang guys named Cole or something. I think they never really said who was going to do it. They just said they thought it was Cole, but they're not sure. But um, then they keep harping on the woman in the security camera who was talking to Ben and why Ben went to Leap and Leap in the first place, went into the quantum leap chamber in the first place was because the lady on the security camera texted him and said like, look, I need you ASAP. If we're gonna do this now, we gotta do it now. So he left, didn't tell anybody, left and went and leaped. He wasn't supposed to leap. Addison was supposed to be the leaper. And he was supposed to be the hologram or the observer of 2022. So basically, Ben screwed up all of the plans because they were still in the testing phases. They weren't even ready for anybody to try leaping yet because they still haven't worked out all the problems with Sam's original plans and how leaping worked. Because once Ben or Sam leaped, whichever in the same it's the same thing in both series is. Once they leave, they don't remember who they are, why they're there, what they leave for, who they interacted with back in 2022. They lose their memory. Their memory gets Swiss cheesed. Now that they said that, but they no unless you know the original series, Sam says that that's how he explains it to Al before he does it. Like your mind gets Swiss cheese to where you don't remember anything. And there's a couple things that I don't agree with that they did, and I'll get to that near the end of the video. But we'll get to that in a second. But basically, like he forgets everything when he leaves. But anyway, flash forward to the end of the near the end of the episode where Magic is about to leave to go to DC to explain what the hell's going on with the project. And the security lady stops him and was like, wait, we figured out who the hell this mystery woman is. And he's like, who? And then she pulls up a picture of Al Calavici. And he's like, what does Al Calavici have to do with this? And she's like, well, it's his daughter. She has emotional ties to the original project, Quantum Leap. And he's like, well, we gotta find her and stop her. So they're basically saying, like, she has some ulterior motive to why she was wanting Ben to do this, I think, is what they're getting at. Because I think what she wants to happen is, and they mentioned the fact that Al died, by the way. So Al in the series, in Quantum Leap, canonically, is now deceased since Dean Stockwell died. Because they paid tribute to her. So canonically, Al is dead. Al is not in the show at all, which is fine because Dean Stockwell died, and I wouldn't want anyone else to be Al anyway. So that's fine that they killed him off. That's the perfect way to do it because that's what would have happened. Now, what her motive is, I have no idea. I could speculate on it, but I have no idea. Now, the problems with this show I don't need my notes for this, because the problems with this show I had were originally in the original run of Quantum Leap. Sam, when he first leaped, he said to Al, he said, it felt like somebody grabbed me and was like holding me back or whatever, or like guiding me somewhere. And Al was always like, okay, that's weird. But then at the end of the original run, he leaps into a bar called Al's Place, or it's really a saloon, I guess. It's a saloon called Al's Place, and Sam leaps there as himself on his actual date of birth. And throughout the episode, he interacts with people that he recognizes throughout his multiple different leaps. But anyway, to cut it short here, basically, he's talking to the bartender guy who he thinks is God or time or fate. I don't think the bartender was God. I think it was like the personification of time. Like telling him, like, look, you're the one leaping yourself. You have to tell yourself to go home. And Sam didn't want to believe that. Sam didn't want to believe that he controlled his destiny when it came to leaping. Which was proven true because at the very, very end of the series, the last thing he says to the bartender Al before he leaves is he's like, I can't go home yet. I have one more thing to fix. And the Al bartender says, God bless you, Sam Beckett. And then he leaps, and then lo and behold, he leaps into himself again to fix the one thing he could have fixed many leaps ago, which is telling Al's wife, Beth, that he's alive. So that's what he went there to do. He left into himself, into like, I'm guessing her apartment or her house or something, because he tells her the story. If you guys don't know, I'm gonna basically spoil the end of the whole series, so click off now. But like, if you're watching this, I'm assuming you're gonna know, if you're watching Quantum 2022, like I'm assuming you're going to be somewhat a fan of the show. I'm sure there's newcomers to it, but a lot of them are going to be like like old veterans of the original series. Um, so he basically tells her that Al's alive and he's coming home, and she's like, "Oh my god, he's alive!" And she's crying her eyes out, and he leaves again, and that's where the show ends. It says that he never left home. Now there was an unreleased ending that like leaked out back in 2019, I think, by a Reddit user or something, where it showed Al talking to his wife, saying that when he left, he was somewhere as himself again, and they couldn't find him because if he leaves as himself, it's harder to find where he is in time and who he is, because when Sam leapt into somebody, they the person he leapt into basically leapt into his body. So okay, to give you a perfect example, there's an episode where he leaps into Lee Harvey Oswald, and they do a bunch of cutbacks to where Al's talking to him in uh, the waiting room, and I was talking to Lee Harvey Oswald in the waiting room, trying to get him to admit that he's Alec Cadell and all this stuff. You know all the weird Oswald shit and all that. So I don't need to explain that. But basically, he explains to Oswald that Sam's Mazons and his Mazons somewhat like matched and they merged. So like he knows stuff. Oswald knows stuff that only Sam would know. And Al proves it by telling him that, like, ask him what the string theory is or whatever. It's something like that. And then Lee Harvey Oswald says, "Well, how do I know what that is?" And then I was like, I explained it to you because you leaped into my buddy, or my buddy leaped into you, and you have some of his Mazons. Now, my problem with the new reboot or whatever it is, the continuation or whatever you want to call this, um, is that when Ben leaps, right now it seems like he completely leaps into the person like fully, and by that I mean there's no like imaging chamber. Well, there's an imaging chamber, but there's not a waiting room. It's like a holographic imaging chamber thing that Addison like stands in, and she sees everything around him and him, but he's a hologram to her. But to him, she's the hologram. But in this show, it's just weird to me that it's not the same way. Like the person that Ben leaps into doesn't leap back into the waiting room or whatever. Because it doesn't make sense. Like where would they go? Does he completely leap? Did Ben's new code that he added to the project, did he fix that issue to where the person doesn't leap into Sam or whoever's leaping? Did he fix that? I don't know. They didn't say that, but that's the way it sounds. It sounds to me like Ben fixed a lot of the like issues Sam didn't like with Project Quantum Leap originally, which was probably the fact that when he leaves, he doesn't completely take over the person's body. It's more like his consciousness is like taking over their physical body, but their consciousness goes into his body in 1999. If that makes sense, because Sam probably didn't want that to be how it worked, because it was all experimental. When he stepped into it, the quantum accelerator, he didn't expect for what happened to happen, basically. Now, that being said, I'm not saying the series is horrible. It's not that's gonna be horrible, but this first episode didn't do a lot of like explaining how the project like got rebooted, why it's rebooted, what Ben did to fix it to where like the people don't leap into that he leaps into, they don't come back in the waiting room anymore. Like that's not a thing anymore. Like, are they gonna explain that, or is that just do we have to infer why that is? Because looking at it from like a quantum leap standpoint, like from the original series, it doesn't make sense because that's not how it was originally. And like that's fine, they can take liberties or whatever. But the nice thing is Donald Belisario, the guy that originally did Quantum Leap, is involved with this. So like, hopefully it gets better as it goes. I hope it does because I know like early Quantum Leap, um, like the first episode of original Quantum Leap, like Genesis, wasn't like super good either, but it got better in season one. But it just seems like they're like rewriting some things they didn't like originally that they wish they would have thought of before or something, because it just the way it works now doesn't meld well with how the show worked before, in my opinion. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying it's kind of jarring when you're going into it thinking it's like a quantum leap, like continuation. I think of it more as I think it's more of a reboot. I really do because online people have been calling it like a continuation because they mentioned the original series and stuff. But come on, people, it's a freaking reboot. It's not. It's if it was a continuation, they would have like kept it mostly the same. I would think, like project wise, and maybe not. Maybe they want to like say Ben updated this stuff. Maybe that'll happen in episode 2 or 3. Maybe they'll delve more into it. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just inferring here. And will Dr. Sam Beckett show up at some point? Will Ben run into him during leaping? I don't know. Will Ben leap into Sam back in '99? Because technically, if the show's following like the chronology of the original run, technically Ben could leap back to when the project originally started to stop it if he wanted. Now that doesn't seem like that's what his plan is, but that they could do something like that. I don't think they're going to because I think that'd be kind of stupid. Because that would unless that's how they end it. Like unless that was like the series finale, and Ben was like, "Okay, this is what we're gonna do." Like they find out how to get him home, and like the episode before. This is all just me inferring. I don't know anything. Trust me, guys. But if I'm right on this stuff, don't hold me to it because it's not my fault. This is just how I see it possibly playing out. It's like Ben would be like, "Okay, you guys, let me home. Now I want to go fix Project Quantum Leap so it never happens because it doesn't need to happen because I don't want people. I don't want Sam be trapped leaping forever and ever. Would they do that? Probably not, but I could see them doing it because it it it, it kind of makes sense because like how else are they gonna do it? Like what else are they gonna do? Because they're I can almost guarantee you they're going to show Dr. Sam Beckett at some point in the series. I don't think it'll be a flashback too. I think it'll actually be like himself. He'll leap into somewhere. Um, and I'll get to why I'm saying leap into somewhere in a second. But he'll leap into somewhere, and he'll probably run into Sam at some point. And why I said somewhere, because in the episode 2 preview, I should say episode 2 preview, like in the series preview they do, like after episode 1 ended, they were like, there was one part, I don't know what episode it is, but not Addison, Ian says he left outside of his lifetime. And they were like, how is that possible? And they're like, I don't know. Maybe he wrote a code to make him be able to leap outside of his lifetime. So obviously, Ben made the project more advanced than what Sam did. Because originally, Sam could only leap within his lifetime. There was that one exception where he leapt into his like great 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 grandfather in the Civil War or whatever, back in like the 1800s or whatever. There was that one episode where he did that, but that was because he was literally like he had the same kind of like blood or like their DNA with part of their DNA like matched. I forget how they explained it, but basically that's why Sam was able to do that. But it sounds to me like Ben made the project better and can leap wherever the hell he wants, and maybe even the future. Who the hell knows? I don't know. Maybe he could leap in like 2045. Who knows? I have no idea. I'm literally like guessing here, but if he can leap without any restrictions to his lifetime, who knows where he could leap? Because in this, I forgot to mention this early on, but in the reboot, they're saying the computer algorithm is controlling where he leaps. So does Ben literally not have any control over where he's leaping? Because they try to get him back and it says like syntax system fail and they can't retrieve him. Did Ben do that on purpose? I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Ben is gonna leap for like a year or two or something, and then he'll come back. Maybe he set a time on when he wants to come back in the system. Now, could the system get screwed up? Yes, that could very likely happen. But will it? Who knows? I have no idea. Like I said, this is all just speculation on where I could see the series going. Um, but I think they definitely should show Sam Beckett at some point, like modern day Sam Beckett, not a freaking flashback. Like get Scott Bakula to come back because he said he would do it in like limited capacities. Like he wouldn't want to do like a whole season or whatever, but he would come back like every so often if they want him to. Which if he's open to it, then let him come back because that would be huge for the series. I think if Dr. Samuel Beckett came back in like a cameo or something. Like if Ben ran into him, he's like, "Hey, how are you?" And be like, I'm Samuel Beckett. Who are you?" Then he'd be like, oh my god, we're trying to figure out how to work Project Quantum Leap and bring people home after they leap. And then Sam would be like, "Oh my god, have you figured out how to leap me home?" But see, that they see that's the problem. That's the other problem. They really can't do anything weird like that with him finding Sam, because originally, like I said earlier, Sam controls his leaps. Unless Al's daughter figured that out at some point, or at some point she figures it out. It's like, oh wait, that's why we can't find him, because he's himself and he's controlling his leaps. We've got Ben. You have to go tell him, like, yes, we are not in control of his leaps anymore. You are in control of your own destiny. You have to bring yourself home. That's what I could see them doing. Do I think they're going to do that? Probably not. But it would be really cool if they did. Okay, that was a really long video. I know, guys, it was like 30 minutes, but like there was a lot to freaking unpack in this hour episode of Quantum Leap. I think every episode is like an hour, so with commercials, so like probably 45 ish minutes or something like that. So there was a lot to digest in here, and I can't believe I actually took freaking notes for this video. Like, I never do that. So I really hope this video does well, because I put a lot of work into it. I literally just got done watching it again before I filmed this video. So I have high hopes for this series. I I honestly don't see it going past one season, depending on like how they write the story out. But like if they flesh it out more and like give it more depth and stuff, maybe they could squeeze like 3 or 4 seasons out of it, just like the original one. I think the original one had like 5 seasons or something. But I could see them squeezing out at least 3 seasons at least. But let me know what you guys thought about it. Or were you a fan of the original Quantum Leap? Did you like this first pilot episode? I don't even like calling them pilot episodes, because they already got like the 10 episode or whatever the hell it is. I don't know how many episodes are going to be in the first season, but it's not really a pilot. But did you like this first episode? Let me know in the comments below. I want to discuss it with other Quantum Leap fans in the comments. So if you like this video, please share it on like Alice Plays forums and stuff like that. If you're a fan of the show, because I want to delve into it with fans of the show that like actually know the show, but also newbies too, because you guys might have new ideas about where the show could go. So I'm curious what you guys think, and thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys a lot for Patreon, for supporting me on Patreon. It means a lot to me. It helps out the channel a ton. Thank you to my bronze tier members: Matt Y99, Reaper 7734, Title Cal, Harry Fernandez, Joe is my most recent one, Oliver Friedrich, Marcus S. It's me, Charliz. Uh, uh, there's like one or two of you I can never remember. Why do you guys have to have some weird names with some of your names? Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me see if I can. Oh, could I still have that up? AJ Gonawa, Zual Atfi. There you go, guys. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. I promise I'm going to try to remember your guys' name without having to look, but it's a lot to remember. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry it was so long, but I really wanted to like cover everything about this episode and series and ideas I had. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Maybe somewhere in time. See you guys later.